Hey everyone, it's Riley, and today I'm going to set up December in my bullet journal. I really love this December bullet journal theme, and honestly, I got the inspiration from like a bunch of different places. I had so many ideas for December and I really couldn't narrow it down, so I kind of decided to combine a few different things. So the first thing that I wanted to use was this like watercolor paper that I've been making a lot lately. It's really easy to make. You just like color onto like a plastic bag or something with some sort of water-based marker, give it a little spray down with water and press it onto paper, and you can make this really cute watercolor paper. So I knew that I wanted to use that. I also knew that I wanted to incorporate Christmas trees in some way. One of my favorite like December winter traditions was always just going out with my family and cutting down a Christmas tree, so I wanted to tie that in some way as well. Two other things that kind of inspired this theme was number one, light bulbs. I don't know. I've been doing a bunch of custom bullet journals lately, and pretty much everyone asks for a light bulb theme somewhere, so I've been really loving using these little light bulbs just to decorate pages and things like that. And the last thing that kind of inspired this theme was the snow globe idea. So I liked the idea of doing a snow globe in my journal, but I knew that I didn't just want to do a plain old snow globe, so I decided to kind of combine all of these things, do a little snow globe in a light bulb with Christmas trees and watercolor paper, and mash it all together and see if it turned out, and I really like how it ended up turning out. So if you want to plan along with me, grab whatever you want to use for your color. I use Crayola Super Tips. Grab your fine liners, grab a white gel pen if you've got one, and if you have any questions about the supplies that I've been using, they're all linked in the description. And if you're not here to plan, you're just here to chill, get cozy, grab some tea, and let's jump in and plan December. So to start here, I'm making that sort of watercolor looking paper, and I wanted it to look like a night sky, so I just used some like navy, dark blue, and even some black, and colored onto this little plastic bag, and then gave it a little bit of a spray and just like kind of smeared it around the paper. You don't want to like smear it too much, more just like dab, and just make sure that you fill as much space as you're going to need. So I'm going to use this to cut out a few circles to make these little snow globes. So I knew that I wanted at least enough watercolor paper to cut out these circles of different sizes. So I've got a few different size jars and a glue stick and things like that, and I'm just tracing those to make sure that I have enough watercolor paper to fit all of the different little snow globes that I'm going to make. So the first one that I'm going to make is for my title page. So this is the biggest one. So I'm just cutting out this nice circle shape, and I'm going to paste it onto the page where I want my little snow globe to be. So like I said, the watercolor part is the night sky, and then I also wanted to include some more like traditional elements in a snow globe, like a little house, some Christmas trees, some snow on the ground, and so I figured that the best way to do that would maybe just be to draw it onto printer paper, just white paper like this. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm drawing it onto just plain white paper, and then I'm going to cut around just that and paste it on top of my night sky and color it in. And that's how I'm going to make my little snow globe, and then I'll just add an outline, and that's kind of the light bulb snow globe theme that I'm going for this month. So now that I've got all the details in of the foreground and I've got that watercolor paper in, I'm filling the sky with little pieces of snow as if the snow globe was just shaken. So I'm putting as many little white dots in this night sky as I possibly can to complete the sort of snow globe look. And if you look to the side of me, that's actually my little like planning sheet. I always sort of plan out my monthly spreads just on a sheet of loose leaf so that I can lay out the things that I know I want to include. So I've got my title page, my quote page, my gratitude log, all of that laid out beside me so that I'm ready to go and just put the pen to the paper. So the last step on my snow globe here is just to turn it into a light bulb. And after the video, I ended up going in and coloring in the bottom of the light bulb to make it hopefully look more light bulbish, but I got the shape that I was going for and then just added the heading for December in some calligraphy that I thought sort of fit the festive mood. Alright, so there is my title page for December, and now I don't always do a quote on the left page, but I decided to do one today just because there are so many Christmas songs that you can pull quotes from. So I'm making just a little tiny light bulb snow globe on the bottom there, and then I'm going to put a quote just from one of my favorite Christmas songs on this side of the page. And a few more little sparkles to finish it off, kind of like I did on the title page. And then this page is done, my quote and my title for December. So the next page in this setup is a little bit different than normal, and I decided to do a big calendar on this page. So oftentimes I'll do just like a list style events calendar, but this time, since it is, Christmas is coming up, we're gonna be going, well, hopefully, COVID permitting, going to visit a bunch of family and stuff like that. I figured it would be nice to have a more traditional style calendar to sort of see all of that at a glance. So I've laid out the month of December here, I'm adding some doodles, and I'm just gonna make a really basic calendar spread for this month. So here I've decided to incorporate my sort of night sky watercolor paper a little bit just by making myself some headings along the side. So a place to track just like notes for the month as a whole, and then also my YouTube schedule. So sometimes I'll put that on the calendar itself, but this time I'm thinking I'll just put a dot on the days when I am posting something on YouTube, and then I'll actually list those things down below here. Because super exciting, just like actually this week that I'm filming this video and doing the voiceover, I got monetized on YouTube, which is so exciting for me. So I decided to start tracking that even more intentionally than I already have been. And I'm already, thinking of ways that I can incorporate that into my January spreads and into my New Year's spreads when I do put out my 2021 month planning video. So if you personally have ways that you track like YouTube or Instagram or things like that that you think would be beneficial, feel free to let me know in the comments below. So the next page here is one that I've been including for the past few months. I haven't really changed it up very much since I introduced it to my bullet journal in October. So on this page, I'm just going to track my screen time, or more specifically like my phone time, and then also just things that I'm learning, maybe things that I read or heard in a podcast and just wanted to write down. Often I'll end up just putting 1 or 2 quotes in this section. I usually don't fill the whole thing up, but sometimes if there's like a specific maybe masterclass or something that I'm taking, I'll just use this as a place to take notes for that if I haven't already filled it with other things. So that's what I'm doing on this page here. I'm just adding another little light bulb snow globe in the top corner, and then I'm going to leave a space to track my screen time and write down interesting things that I've learned this month. So on the left side here, I'm going to make my screen time tracker, and basically all I'm doing is writing the days of the month, the 1st to 31st along the side, and then the number of hours along the bottom. Then I'm going to put that into a little box, and then how I use it is just every week or so I'll go into my phone's like settings area and look at the screen time, and I'll just draw a line. So it ends up looking kind of like a line graph at the end of the month, which is pretty cute, but also gives me a good indication of how I was using my time throughout the month. Because most of the things that I like need to do on a screen, I do on my computer. And that's why I don't track computer things, because I use that for work every single day. My phone is mostly just used for the more time wasting things that I do. And so that's why I want to track the time that I'm spending on my phone, just to make sure that I'm keeping that to a healthy amount. The other page here is going to be my little gratitude log. So I leave these really basic. I don't like leave a specific spot for each day of the month or anything like that. I just kind of leave it open for whatever. So if there's a certain day that month that I just am really reflecting on things that I'm grateful for, I'll just use this to write a little journal entry about those things. Other months, I'll just put the date on the left side and then write a sentence or 2 about things I'm grateful for that day, and I'll do it maybe just a few days of the month. So it's really fluid, you know, I just use it however I feel like using it during the month. And it's pretty simple to put together. You really wouldn't need to do any sort of decorations, just basically a box that says gratitude. But of course, I decided to keep going with my theme and have that sort of snowy night sky at the top there. And then I'll make a nice box with some more of those little house and tree doodles in the bottom corner. So the final spread I'm putting together for December is my first weekly spread, And I decided to try something different and use a sort of like time blocking technique. So you may have noticed that one of the spreads I was missing at the beginning of this monthly setup was my sort of week at a glance calendar, where I list out, just like this, all of the sort of normal tasks that I have for each weekday. So I decided not to do that because I wanted to try some time blocking instead. Again, this has a lot to do with just how I use my time, the way I've been like tracking my use of my phone and setting goals for YouTube and the time I spend on that and things like that. So I decided to try this sort of time blocking technique. So I've listed all the times of the day from 8 a.m. until 10 p.m. because that's usually when I'm up and doing productive things. And so I've listed all of those along the side and given nice tall boxes for every day. And I'm really not sure how this is going to work for me. I've never done it in quite this way before, and I feel like I'm going to miss having a bigger spot in each daily box to just write tasks that could fall in anywhere during the day. You know, I often have just like a bunch of little tasks and I just kind of fit them in as I can. So I feel like that's going to take some adjusting. But I decided to give it a try anyways because it is something that's interested me for a while. So we'll do it at least for this first week of December and see if we keep going with it from there. So as you can see, I used the same sort of watercolor night sky for the headings, and then I'm making my December title here with the same font I've been using all throughout. I'll add some doodles and definitely a little notes box, since I don't have a space to write down notes in each of the daily boxes. I'm thinking this notes box probably won't even be big enough, but I decided to go for it anyways and see if I can make it work this week. So for those of you who have actually tried this time blocking method in your bullet journal before, let me know how you felt about it. Did you like using it? What did you find were the strengths or the drawbacks to it? I was planning to stick with it for all of December, but just like seeing it laid out is kind of stressing me out that I don't have a place to write all of my little tasks. So we'll see if I end up sticking with it, but definitely let me know if you've got experience with it too, what your thoughts are. So let's do a quick little flip through. We've got our title and quote. Then we've got a big old calendar page to write down all of the Christmas events, goals, and YouTube goals, all of that kind of stuff. And our spot for tracking screen time, learning, and gratitude. And finally, our first weekly spread of the month. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you. What did you most like about doing this journal spread? Was it the watercolor paper, the light bulbs, the Christmas trees? What was it that drew you to this spread in particular? I'd also really appreciate it if you would leave a like on this video and subscribe to my channel so that you can join me here for more bullet journaling content.